This
Yep.
is Pika Pod, and this is a special edition episode. I am doing an interview with our friend SunnyTCG from Twitch. This is SunnyTCG. He is a Twitch streamer. He is popular for his weekly tournaments on Mondays. Morris is one of the judges. Hi, Sunny.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Just winding down the week.
Same. This week has been crazy for me, for us. Morris is right now in Pittsburgh doing judging, and it's been a little less crazy this time than when he went to Atlanta. When he went to Atlanta, I literally did not hear from him for 72 hours.
As long as he's staying in contact with you.
Yeah, literally, I think the only time I heard from him is when he went to dinner with you. He's like heading to dinner with Sunny, and then he's like, "Good night." I'm like, "Okay, tell Sunny I said hi."
Yeah, but I mean it's a pretty busy day. Like regionals are like busy work for sure.
Yeah. And then this time when he went to Pittsburgh, he didn't. There was like a thing for like all the professors. He didn't go to this one this time. He decided to like go out and like explore and like take it a little easy this time. So he still hasn't contacted me today, really, other than I went out yesterday to like go hang out with friends, and our debit card got locked.
Uh-oh.
So I had to message him and be like, "Hey, unlock the card." So I have a bunch of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
What got you into Pokemon?
Just like the franchise in general or the TCG or
All the above?
all the above. I mean, I'd say Pokemon in general is something I've always been into when I was a kid. You know, obviously growing up in the 90s, Pokemon was obviously like a popular trend and all that stuff. And it's one of those things where picked it up, never put it back down type of deal. That's about it. So,
Did you start with the cards, or did you start with like the video games or the show?
I would say it's been a bit of like all three or whatever. I think it started, I want to actually say it started with the cards where I think initially I got a Rat Attack card, base set Rat Attack card from somebody in my school. That was like the first card I've ever actually owned, I would say. And then, of course, it went into, you know, getting cards myself. And then, of course, the video games and all that stuff. And then eventually watching the show and everything in between. Even going to, like, the league when I was a kid and all that stuff as well.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know there were leagues back then. I just remember like toy stores like KB Toys and stuff doing like their release days and stuff, and kids would go in and like they would trade cards back and forth. I didn't get into the cards at that point. I was into the show.
Right.
A cat tail on your side.
Oh, yeah, there's two cats in here, actually. I know you're not gonna have, I know you're not gonna see a camera on this thing, but there are cats here.
One thing that Sunny does during his streams is he has like a little button that you can like give the treats to the cats, and I always tell Morris when that button is going, I'm like, give the treat to the cat. You might see a dog on my side, you might see cats on my side.
Bit of
Depending on
everything.
how to do stuff. When did you start playing TCG competitively?
That was get ready for this one. That was back in 2008.
Oh wow.
Yeah, oh, I was right. It was like I was still in high school at the time, and I have a friend. His name is Zach. He knew that I liked the video games and all that stuff, so he said, "Hey, you want to try your hand at playing with the cards or whatever?" So that went. It turned into me like getting a. I want to say it was a Palkia starter deck from the Great Encounters era. That was my first set, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah, I got the starter deck, started going to the league, all that fun stuff, and then yeah, it just And then it just never stopped from there. And then I think maybe like a month later is when I did my very first regionals,
Okay.
which, believe it or not, was they were not that big back then. My very
Oh,
first regionals, like obviously, like most of them are held in like convention centers, all that stuff.
yeah.
Nowadays, they have like thousands of people.
Hmm.
My very first regionals was in a little hotel in Parsippany, New Jersey, and Masters Division. I'm not even kidding. Was around 100 something players.
Oh.
Regionals was literally the size of maybe like two banquet halls,
Oh, wow.
if that is maybe even smaller than that. But yeah, it was definitely a lot smaller. And not also regionals back in the day used to not be all year round. They used to take place. I'm not even kidding, during one part of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and which I gotta remember this because that's when I started playing. But I think there were literally just like four regionals occurring in that same week and at the same time.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was pretty much regionals. It was a much different format back then as far as the way the tournament structure worked. It was like there were like breaks in between, where you can just like do one thing then another thing,
Hmm.
which I can actually outline that if you want me to, the way seasons would work.
Sure.
So a season would basically start in September, and they would have tournaments referred to as battle roads, which we'll
Okay.
say is the equivalent to league challenges of today. You'd have your battle roads around like September, and I think going in September, October, and then I believe around November, December, that's when city championships would be held, aka the equivalents of league cups of today.
Okay.
And then I want to say around maybe February, March ish, I want to say, when state championships would be held.
Hmm.
April would be regionals again, or regionals. That'd be the only time for regionals, that one time of the year. And then around like May or so is when you'd get your spring battle roads. And then like June would be your national championships,
Okay.
aka the equivalents of what internationals are today,
Hmm.
which even bigger, I should say. And then of course like August would be worlds, and then rotation would happen.
Hmm.
So it was definitely like a more spaced out, like a lot more downtime. So it wasn't like a constant grind of having to go like back to back to back to back to back weekends of stuff.
Yeah. I just figured out that they had Frankfurt and the one in Monterey on the same weekend,
Mm-hmm.
like last weekend. So I was like asking Morris, I'm like, hey, why did Raul go to the one in Monterey and he didn't go to Frankfurt? Why is Tord in Frankfurt and not? And he's like, it's the same weekend. They had to pick. And I was like, they've never done that before, have they? And he's like, no.
Yeah, but there did used to be phases where yes, there were regionals happening on like the same weekend and all that stuff.
Hmm. What is your favorite deck you ever played?
Favorite deck I ever played, I would have to say any Darkrai EX variant from the Black and White era.
Hmm.
Pretty much all of them. That's like probably my favorite card of all time. But yeah, for the time, that card was pretty insane, especially given the way the old rules were, where
Hmm.
you can play supporters on your first turn and all that stuff, even attack
Oh.
on the first turn. So if you play your cards right, between getting dark energies in the discard pile and working with
Hmm.
your with dark patches and all that stuff, loading up
Hmm.
dark right away, like getting like a quick 90-30 at the snap of a finger was just kind of broken.
Do you like the cards from back then versus like the ones from today? Like I know the ones back then were like a paragraph is like was the attack because that was Wizard of the Coast and now it's Pokemon, so they've simpled everything.
Yeah, I don't
Or
mind
do you
this.
like
Yeah, I don't mind the simplistic way things are nowadays. It's
Mhm.
fine. It doesn't need to be like a whole paragraph to explain everything. Like everything's more streamlined and to the point, and like so on and so forth. Like, especially with like when they introduced it also in the black and white era. That's when abilities were actually introduced. It used to be Poke Powers and Poke Bodies. There were two different things.
Mhm.
Now they're all just one thing, which obviously we all know that today. But yeah, they used to, yeah, Poke Powers and Poke Bodies used to coexist in the same thing and be two different things.
Okay. Do you like the fact that the megas are coming back now, and do you think it's going to change the whole like thing with the meta going on right now?
Yeah, I don't mind them coming back. I know people are just like up in arms about having like three prizers returning and all that stuff, but some of them are like either more of a chore to get out, or some of them you just slap on the board, but even then they can still get one shot in this current meta anyway, and they're not entirely worth it.
Yeah.
But I would say just about anything as far as with any new cards concerned, it they need to prove themselves in the first place as far as like if they can be playable, if they do have a place, if
Hmm.
they can coexist with what's happening right now.
Hmm.
Because I mean, a lot of times, just you can see like a new archetype after new archetype after new archetype get announced and basically revealed of a concept like, oh, this is pretty cool. These cards synergize with each other, but then the concept itself or the actual deck turns to just be kind of mid at best and just not entirely great.
Hmm.
Where what we have now is better.
Hmm. Well, it's like, when Destined Rivals came out, everyone was excited for Team Rocket's Mewtwo. And then they found out it's not that great of a card and it doesn't play well in like tournaments. I don't know if you saw it in your weekly tournaments do okay.
Yeah, I mean they do okay at best. I mean it's a deck that, yeah, you can win games with it. You can definitely do that for sure. But I would also have to say, as far as like decks that already existed, do essentially the same thing as what the Rockets Mewtwo deck can do. For a good example, Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt does literally the same thing for practically less, I would say. Not to mention, it's not relying on like a whole supporter engine where
Mm-hmm.
like at most you have Professor Size Vitality to sort of get you going, and it's like a main bread and butter piece to that or whatever. But of course, with the Rocket deck, you're sort of just dedicated to all these Rocket supporters, which I mean, to be fair, they're actually pretty solid supporters.
Mm-hmm.
But
A lot of people were saying like all the Team Rocket stuff, it was like a self-built deck. Like all you had to do was have the cards and you pretty much had a deck out of them.
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's easy to
Yeah.
build. Not to mention too, I know they're supposed to be releasing that in the next League Battle deck, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, Rockets Mewtwo is coming out in that. I can't remember all the cards that come out are coming with it, but yes, you will be getting Rockets Mewtwo all put together. I don't know if it
I've
actually, yeah, I don't know if it
been
actually comes with all the Spite Ops and all that stuff, but yeah.
okay. I've been playing the rival decks, the pre-built rival decks. I've been playing Marnie's
Yep.
and I like it. It like if you're set up, you're great. If you're not, then oh well. Like,
Pretty
but it's a
much.
fun deck to play.
It's
What got started on Twitch?
started on Twitch. That's a really good question. That's like a whole story right there. So the funny thing is, I actually told you ahead of time that I officially started streaming around like May 2020,
Yes.
which was, of course, during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when everyone was sort of just sheltered in, needing something to do, and all that stuff. However, my initial plans to wanting to get into streaming what branched into August 2019. I went to Worlds that year as a spectator.
Oh wow.
I sort of took a bit of like a season off in a way after going sort of all out in 2018, where I did earn my Worlds invite.
Mm-hmm.
I competed at Worlds 2018, but I sort of took like a break a little bit, didn't do too many tournaments, and then just went as a spectator in
Mm-hmm.
2019. I was at dinner with one of my closest friends, my closest friend Luke, who everyone might know as Celio's Network. I
Mm-hmm.
was sitting, we were eating, and I was like, hey, I want to potentially build a computer and get into streaming and all that stuff. Since, at the time he was still himself doing Twitch and streaming and stuff like that. So I was saying, hey, I want to get into this myself and then eventually, go from there. So then it turned into like a whole build up of saving my money to buy parts to my computer and all that stuff along the
Mm-hmm.
way. And the funny thing is, along the way as well, I was actually planning on having a more full season, have another one where I went for my Worlds invite again and all that stuff. So I was
Mm-hmm.
balancing that and building the computer, but then obviously the pandemic hit March of 2020, which
Mm-hmm.
ironically enough, I was supposed to go to Toronto for regionals, but then that those plans got squashed or whatever. So then after, one regionals got canceled, then another, then the whole season got scrapped. I thought to myself, nowhere to travel. Let me continue to fund for this computer and build the computer myself. I built it all myself, all that fun stuff, and yeah, that's when I sort of started to build the channel and just started just mainly shooting variety in
Mm-hmm.
the first place because I didn't have full intentions of being a Pokemon streamer at all, let alone a
Okay.
full-on TCG streamer. That was never in the plans. That never was what I intended to do. However, Pokemon Trading Card Game Online, when I was doing those, that was like what was getting the most traction in a way,
Mm-hmm.
most attention. So then eventually I sort of drifted more and more into that.
What's your favorite thing about being a Twitch streamer?
I would have to say the favorite thing is, of course, I would have to say probably the favorite thing is just the whole community aspect of things, just creating a community in general, building it up just from
Mm-hmm.
nothing and then having it into something, whether the community, be big or small.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that's the most rewarding thing is just having something grow and having something last, which has always been my view of streaming. It's more than just, turning on a camera and hitting the go live button and sitting there playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Just, anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm. What is the best advice you could give someone who is thinking of starting to stream?
So as far as giving the best advice into starting to stream, like this is something I get asked like a few times by people in general who are just interested in streaming in the first place. So I usually ask them two questions of, and this basically depends on the kind of help that they're going to get for me or from me, I should say. Um, is what do you want to do with streaming? Do you want to know how to just turn the camera on and stream and just go live and all that stuff? Or do you
Mm-hmm.
want something, or do you want to know how to make things last and to grow and to do all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Because depending on the answer they give me is usually the response I get, which, if all they want to do is, hit the button, go live, and then see if the magic just happens or whatever, then I say, oh, there you go. You just answered your own question, pretty much. But as far as everything else is concerned, the biggest piece of advice, especially like doing something where you can actually grow and build something out of it,
Mm-hmm.
is you got to have patience with it. It's really a grind. It really is to start something from nothing and then grow it into something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of remembering that everybody starts out zero followers, no viewers, all that stuff. Everyone starts at the bottom part of the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you climb up. That's what really matters the most. Is what are you gonna do? Like how are you going to you know advertise your brand? How are you gonna get that out there?
Mm-hmm.
And I could say it comes down to the simple things of just being involved in social media, like X or Instagram and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously those are varying results. I mean, the results just vary entirely. But it's just a matter of like the effort that you put into it is what matters the most. You have to put the effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
but yeah, as long as
that's
you have
what
that effort. Oh, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that's what I've noticed being like a podcaster. Like Morris and I, we started this podcast, and first hurdle was like figuring a name for the podcast. That took us a week of us going back and forth, and then it was you know all the equipment, getting all the equipment. That was the fun part for me, is getting all the equipment, and then making sure that we have the right recording thing on the computer and all that. And now it's like going to the office every single week or doing it in our living room every single week, staying consistent is just, it is a grind. Nobody says this. Nobody, it's things that nobody tells you. it's a grind. It's work, but it's work that you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the main point of it. It's a grind, and you have to, in order to get what you want, you have to build up to it. It just can't be automatic in any way, shape, or form. And
Hmm.
that's actually another thing about like equipment in general. Like people ask, like, oh, what's like it's getting their best recommendations on equipment or whatever. Which for me, before I ended up with microphone and all that stuff, I was literally using the microphone off my webcam. I think starting out, I'm actually no way. I did have two monitors starting out with. I didn't have lighting. I didn't have any of that stuff. I just started literally the bare minimum. Because that's the
Hmm.
main thing is like start with the bare minimum and then build up from there because you don't want to get like the most expensive mic, the highest quality camera, and all this other stuff. And then
Hmm.
if it doesn't work out, or if it's just if basically if it doesn't work out, then you're gonna look at this like, oh well, I just spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the top line equipment, but nothing's coming out of this. Like, what's going on here? And then eventually, that's how people end up flaming out. And believe me,
Hmm.
I've seen streamers that I used to watch religiously just completely just vanish from the scene because of
Yeah.
you know stuff like that in general.
I
Where
used to
yeah, they just
Morris and I used to watch Mahone every single day. He used to stream every single day on Twitch, and I used to like literally look forward to his rants. And now he's I don't want to say like fizzled out, but you can definitely tell over, earlier this year he got burnt out. He's like trying to figure it out. He was streaming way too much, and he's trying to figure out a healthy, happy way of still being able to be a streamer and still having a life.
yeah, exactly. That's the main thing as well. And like Mahone and like most adults in general, I mean, for one thing, Pokemon is his job. That's like the main thing. But obviously, he has the manner of just a life, a family, all that stuff in between. But at the same time too, it's like the burnout that comes in between. And if you don't like what you're doing, then it's not healthy to keep yourself hostage in that sort of situation. Like for him, it was a matter of you know playing Pokemon trading card game live pretty much every single stream, or
Yeah.
for like a good portion of his streams. Like the main meat and potatoes of his content was that go
Hmm.
live, play deck, use deck, and
For
which
6 to 8 hours a day,
yeah,
however long.
yeah, it's kind of that content. I mean, obviously, I would say in the right hands, it's fine, but that kind of content itself, it's sort of exhausted itself, especially given like the nature of how live is in general as a client.
Hmm.
It's like believe me, nothing. There's actually nothing better than physically picking up a deck, sleeving it up, and playing it in front of like an actual human being.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
told
the
Morris I absolutely refuse to use live. I rather have the cards in my hand. My ADHD brain will like just go crazy on live. I've tried it before, and it's like I try to click on a card, and it's like, no, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that. No, you can't. You can't click on that, and I'm just like, it gets too frustrating. But Pocket, I love Pocket.
yeah. Pocket's got a bit of more of that sort of addictive approach to it, and
Mhm.
it's like, in a more simplistic way. It's like it's its own thing. While it's not actually the main TCG in general, like it does well as its own thing. I would say.
Mhm. What is something you wish you knew about streaming before you started?
What I know about streaming, honestly, how far I was gonna actually go with it, like, because I mean, in the past, I've tried other ventures of content creation in general. I would say,
Hmm.
primarily on YouTube or whatever, which I know people aren't gonna see me in the camera or whatever. But as you can tell, I'm very much into gaming, retro
Hmm.
gaming, all that stuff in general. And I had once done a actually I did two separate YouTube channels. One was pretty much when I was in high school and college, where I did it with a friend, and we did game reviewing back then
Hmm.
together. But it was very crude. It was mainly because for the most part we didn't have like proper software for capture software, so it was mainly just us pointing the camera at the TV, playing games, doing it unscripted, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up doing another channel on my own, which it lasted about I think 3 episodes if I remember correctly. I don't even have access to that. I don't even know where that channel is anymore. But I put more work into that one, but then it ended up not really I ended up not really sticking with it. I ended up starting a fourth episode, but then I never actually finished it. It was like one of those things basically where not to mention like YouTube in general is definitely a grind all of its own, and
Mm-hmm.
part of like content creation journeys in general. And that's the main thing about like creating content in general. It's budgeting your time towards whatever you need to budget your time for, whether it be I budget this time for streaming, I do this part of another day for putting together YouTube content,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, some people they have they put their VODs on YouTube and all that stuff. Some people dual stream between both platforms to sort of build that up. I mean, there's so much other stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't really understand when it comes to planning streams, planning content, just planning whatever. Live is just planning, planning, planning.
Yeah.
And then just, I mean, I say it time and time again, like hitting the go live button, that's really the easiest part. Get in front of the camera and talk in front of people, that's the easy part of it when you really think about it. It's just, putting something together or planning something that, people are going to enjoy. That's literally its own monster in itself.
Mm-hmm. So being on camera didn't scare you at first when you first started, or was that a nerve-wracking thing at first?
Honestly, it wasn't nerve-wracking at all. I mostly like my main focus is anybody gonna watch this? That's the only thing
Mm-hmm.
I really care about. It's like, no, I want people to watch this. Like, no, please come on in, watch my stuff, be my guest.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, obviously, like the whole heart and soul of any stream is viewership.
Yeah.
People think like, oh, I can give you money, I can do this stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm the kind of person where I sit there, I tell people, look, hey, I don't want your money, but the only thing I can really want from someone is just a moment of their time. That's really
Yeah.
it. And viewership's the whole thing too that Twitch looks out for in general, and it's
Mm-hmm.
basically the key thing that they look for those who ever want to be a Twitch partner. You need to have like consistent viewership of 75 average or higher, and we're not talking like as far as like an average like that, and that's an average, by the
Mm-hmm.
way. That's not like, oh, have like 75 viewers for maybe like a 1/3 of your stream or whatever. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
talking like 75 or higher throughout a huge portion of it, and have that grow. And I have been fortunate enough to actually achieve that and unlock the Twitch partner application. There was a time when the channel did boom, and
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to have that unlocked, but unfortunately, I never succeeded in getting accepted. Because that's the main thing too. Is you have to basically apply to even be
Mm-hmm.
accepted in the first place, and yeah, that's like the main thing too. And they can basically reject you for primarily if your viewership is not on point, like, or to their standard or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Then
If
they
it's
can,
not consistent enough over like a week or a month or whatever, they can be like, yeah, no.
yeah. So, and actually, I'm gonna send you a little DM real quick or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, like this application right here, I'm not even kidding. It's not even the longest application ever,
Mm-hmm.
but given what you have to actually fill out or whatever, it feels like it's the longest application ever.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the main thing you just gotta tell them about your stream, to explain yourself. That's basically the main thing you do. But that is where it is there.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Gengar.
Gengar. The Gengar is actually the first episode of Pokemon I actually watched is when Gengar, Haunter, and Ghastly were in that house.
Right.
And they were just trying to play with Ash. And I'm like, they're just trying to play. No, I completely fell in love with that. So now it's like anytime I see something Gengar, I'm like, I want it.
Yeah, Gengar, like I think the main thing that actually made me fall in love with Gengar was actually honestly through the TCG. I think was it yeah, Gengar was one of my first I guess serious decks. I played a it was a Gengar Spiritomb sort of hit and switch kind of deck where
Okay.
you would use Gengar's attack to I think it was like 60 and then I think it did damage to the bench as well or something like that. And I know there
Mm-hmm.
was also an ability where you can move damage counters around also. It was
Mm-hmm.
basically like hit and switch, go to the bench and you bring up a Spiritomb which had a which back then it was Pokebody back then had a
Mm-hmm.
Pokebody for as long as it was in the active spot. Both players were not allowed to play trainer cards, which was back then just item cards. By the way, just to clarify,
Okay.
it was item lock. That's before they reworded everything in the black and white set. That was like the first
Okay.
deck, yeah, the first deck, and I took that to my first nationals in 2010.
So it was Snorlax Stall before Snorlax Stall, kinda.
Yeah, well, there was more attacking aspects. Oh, and the funniest thing is there was also healing in your deck as well. There was a Nidoqueen that just sat on the bench. And the way the Nidoqueen worked was in between turns, you just heal 10 from all your Pokemon. I believe that's how
Oh.
that worked.
Hmm.
I think that was from the Rising Rivals set. And then
Oh.
was it the Spiritomb was from the Arceus set. Actually, the Gengar was from the Arceus set also. And I also got to run Gengar level X in that deck as well.
Oh.
But yeah, I took that to my first Nationals.
Wow.
And I almost made top cut with the deck. We were split in pods, and the top 64 from each pod would move on to the next thing or whatever. And in my pod, I got 65th. I bubbled out.
Wow. Like right there, like right on the line.
Yeah, I was right there.
Would you be a part of Team Rocket if they were a thing?
Nah,
No.
nah. Kind of just do my own thing. I'm always that guy that's supposed to do his own thing.
Who's your favorite trainer? Like even in the cards and then like maybe from like the the game or the show.
That's a good question. It's a really good question. It's a matter of do I even have one? I guess we can talk in terms of Pokemon trainers in the TCG. There was a card that was powerful for its time. It's called Cyrus's Conspiracy,
Mm-hmm.
which was written in a lot of the SP decks from back in the day, like the famous Luxray Garchomp deck that basically was the Rolls Royce of Pokemon back in the day.
Okay.
I was I was part of a phase of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I ran that for a few tournaments. It was mainly popular in like 2010. That's when the popularity first started with that deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it took U.S. Nationals by storm that year, and it was the world's winning deck in 2010 as well.
Okay. Now, like when you first started and when you started going like to regionals and stuff, the meta wasn't easily accessible. Like, how would you know what the top decks were?
Well, I mean, there were obviously like meta. There was a meta. There was definitely a meta,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously, I'm not even kidding when I say this. Deck lists were a bit more secretive back in the day. Like, no one was really sharing anything and all that stuff because like metas can go on for like ever and ever.
Mm-hmm.
If people think the meta right now is like stale and boring, then this one was a bit more secretive and
Yeah.
sometimes it was basically like these three decks would do well and all that stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
was a bit of like a thin time back then, I would say, as far as like basically decks that were popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like giving the good example of that first U.S. Nationals that I did, popular decks back then were Luxray Garchomp. Jumpluff was a popular deck back then as well.
Mm-hmm.
The one where all you do is just like fill your board with stuff, get Jumpless powered up, and you're basically just doing 120 for one energy in an instant.
Okay.
It was one of those. The Gengar deck that I was playing was a popular one as well. Machamp was a popular deck also, the Stormfront Machamp. So I mean, there were basically like popular concepts out there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, decks were super secret back then. And obviously, like social media, it wasn't much of a thing back then either.
Mm-hmm.
No one was really posting on like Twitter back then and all that stuff. Most of the time, if you wanted to like learn secrets and all that stuff, you had to like basically go on sites like sixprizes.com or PokeGym and stuff like that. It was more like
Mm-hmm.
website based back then, I would say, and and some stuff was hidden behind paywalls as well. So
Oh,
yeah, like I said,
okay.
things were really secret.
Mhm. What's your favorite thing about your weekly tournaments?
Just hosting them in general, I would say, and just having people giving people like that space to play a tournament, a nice simple tournament that has gotten a bit bigger over time as far
Mm-hmm.
as attendance and all that stuff. Since we kind of had to adjust to the times. Very recently, we did increase the cap from 128 to 256
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of just sat there like, why are we like, what? I'm at the point where I don't want to see people turned away at this rate. So let's just let everybody in. If we have to run a little tiny bit later, then we will.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. I'll hang back if I need to, and
Mm-hmm. Just got to get more judges.
yeah, that's about it. I mean, we do have them, but like I know like between Morris and our other judge Kit Kat, like they're the main support group, which I do
Uh,
appreciate the help, of course.
mhm. What is the craziest thing that you've ever had happen, like on stream, like either during your weekly tournament or like on a regular stream?
The craziest thing to ever have happen? That's a really good question. I don't think it was like anything that ever really happened on camera, which live in like a funny neighborhood myself, so I'm kind of surprised at that. But I think there was like one stream in particular I do remember where I don't know what chat was on that night, but everyone was more generous than usual with as far as like subs and bits and all that stuff. I kind of just sat there like, what is? I don't know if there was something weird in the water going on that night, but I kind of just was sitting there like, what is even going on? Like, what's everybody doing? Like, why are you all doing this? I appreciate it,
Yeah.
but why? Why are we doing this?
What's your favorite memory from competing in TCG?
Favorite memory. There was like a ton of them. I would have to say that were pretty solid. I would have to say one of my favorites was, of course, NEIC 2018, which was
Mm-hmm.
obviously last tournament of the year, and I was literally on my way to get a Worlds invite, and I think I just from that tournament alone, I just needed I think anything,
Mm-hmm.
anything as far as points were concerned, but. I went 6-1-2 for that event, which was definitely good enough for placement to get points, which I needed for a Worlds invite.
Mm-hmm.
Which that was my one and only in my entire career.
Holy
Which,
moly.
I mean, either way, like I mean, I'm satisfied with just having the one in
Yeah.
general. I mean, some people go their entire playing careers without ever achieving a Worlds invite,
Yeah.
even though it's should never really be like the main goal is just to do that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people set their expectations too high, and then when they don't achieve such a thing, then that affect their whole mood, and then next thing you know, they don't even want to play.
Yeah. It's the fun of playing the game. I'm like that with pretty much everything. Like once I'm not having fun, I'm out.
Yeah,
So I try not to stress out. I'm a chef full time and I love it. And I try not to get too stressed out, but there are some days that you can't help it
no, yeah,
because chef is just crazy. So, but I keep in mind, like I love what I'm doing. I love my coworkers, so like which helps me, like get back to work the next day.
yeah, yeah. I feel that.
What's your plan for the 2026 season?
Originally, it was to go to Pittsburgh, but there was some stuff that came up, and I couldn't really do it anymore. It didn't really feel right to just go out there with everything that was going on at that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But my next event that's a for sure is going to be Toronto in January. I mean, then for there, my season's just, whatever's available for me to do, I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
Toronto and NAIC are definitely on the list for sure. I'm just waiting for the rest of the schedule to get released.
Hmm.
If they ever do at this rate, I mean, I feel like we should already have it, but that's a whole other topic. I'm not gonna really go too far into that, but we should already have a full schedule. Just saying.
What do you think of them adding Las Vegas for the first time?
I'm fine with it.
Hmm.
I honestly, it's a place I wouldn't mind going to myself. I wouldn't like. It's fine. I mean, they usually have like they've had other like card game tournaments there in the past. So you say, hey, why not
Yeah,
Pokemon?
I feel like a lot of people with Vegas like they find it crazy because Pokemon is like family oriented, but I'm like Vegas is a huge like tournament expo like city town. Like they have so many expos. They have SEMA every year the week of my birthday that I've been wanting to go for like ever. And like they have all these food expos. So like why not Pokemon?
Yeah, and here's the way I say it too. If you really think about it, just about any major city in general is well crazy or whatever.
Mhm.
That's just the fact of like being in a big city in general is it's gonna be crazy anyway. Like so, what separates Vegas from Baltimore? What separates Vegas from Los Angeles? What separates Vegas from St. Louis? What separates Vegas from Nashville or Atlanta or Charlotte or anything like that?
Or NAIC at New Orleans every single year now.
Mm-hmm. Which,
That
by the way, is an amazing city. I definitely recommend going there
yeah.
if you get the chance to.
I lived near New Orleans for like 3 4 years of my life,
Yeah.
and I I loved it as like growing up, and my dad liked it. My mom hated it. She's like, it's too hot and muggy down here. I don't like it.
Oh, jeez.
What is a regional you're hoping to attend this year?
Well, I just want my Toronto plans to stick. And
Mm-hmm.
the main reason for that is because I've been trying to go to Toronto regionals since literally 2020. You may mention earlier that I was supposed to go to that right around when COVID was starting to kick off, which that
Mm-hmm.
was literally the same week when COVID started going into effect. Given what was happening at that basketball game or whatever, which I don't know if you remember that whole story. I think it was like an NBA game. I think it was like Utah against Oklahoma, and they were delaying the start of the game and all that stuff. But they were saying like something was going on. Next thing you know, the whole game got scrapped entirely, and that was like the first glimpse of everything shutting down. It was within that same
Oh,
week. Yeah, we like I said, I was supposed to go with like a different friend or whatever, and
yeah.
we decided literally like the day before we were supposed to leave, like, hey, this is all going on. We should probably not do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then we were very right to not do it because literally the day after they decided to cancel the entire event or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to do it where they were gonna like set up like sanitizing stations or whatever, but then TBCI just started like pulling the plug on all these events
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. To eventually they pulled the plug on the entire season, which we've never seen before.
Mm-hmm. And then not bringing back regionals and stuff till like 2022.
Yeah, it was quite a while. But I mean, essentially we like kicked things off right where we left off. It was I think around the same time or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, by the time regionals were back again, and this was like the season I was trying to go for my second Worlds invite. I was trying for that season, which of
Mm-hmm.
course, by the time that was even a thing, life got busier for me, and I couldn't do as much traveling as I initially intended to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just very fortunate enough that the one regionals that I did do that season was in Secaucus.
Mm-hmm.
I live in New Jersey, and that one was about roughly 2 hours away. I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did that, and then I went to NAIC
Mm-hmm.
2022. That was basically like my season with that.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite TCG player to watch, and then who is your favorite TCG player that you've ever like played against?
As far as I'll go with like the playing against aspect. I would say back in 2013 at our regionals, I got paired against Kyle Sablehouse, who I think most people know that he now casts or whatever.
Yes.
Yes, so of course I knew he was like a player in the scene and all that stuff, but we got paired against each other, and I gotta say he's a very very fun person in
Mhm.
general. He's a very fun person. We had a Verizian Genesect mirror match, and it was like funny.
Oh,
We were both having like these one periods of time where we were both trying to like set up or whatever, and we kind of just joking around like, oh, something's not really. I think we're doing something wrong here, type things. We ended up tying that match anyway, which is kind
oh
of
wow.
funny. The funny thing is, we still kind of talk to this day as well.
Okay.
He's been in, I think, my Twitch chat a couple times, I'd say.
Mm.
So
I love how like friendly and like family oriented the TCG like part of Pokemon is. Like everybody knows everyone, everyone's friends with everybody. Everyone looks out for each other, like even playing against each other. Like with like Tord, everyone loves Tord.
yeah,
Tord's friends with everybody. Everyone knows him.
yeah, and like the vibe I get from Tord is that he actually is he seems like the kind of person that no matter the situation or with the person or whatever, he seems the kind of person who's like it's okay to like stop and talk if you have like a piece of advice and all that stuff, and he lets you pick his brain as much as possible. He doesn't gatekeep in any way, shape, or form.
No.
He'll basically let you pick his brain, and it's a matter of hey, can you take a lesson from this or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because I always say Tord always does Tord things, so.
Yeah.
It's always there. But as far as a player that I've always enjoyed watching myself, again,
Mm.
I'm an old head, so that would have to be Jason Klaczynski.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did. I was playing pretty much in the Jason Klaczynski era, and just watching him just have just to put together this historic resume for his
Mm-hmm.
time was just insane. 3 world championships, multiple regional wins. Of course, there was towards I think one of his final seasons was winning the 2015 national championships in the craziest fashion ever
Mm-hmm.
against Wailord of all decks, a deck that just popped on the scene that weekend, which I definitely recommend to anybody. Watch the 2015 U.S. National Championship Finals match.
Mm-hmm.
For that, like it's definitely one to watch or whatever. It may not look like much, but I recommend watching that match over a lot of matches
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of crazy, how they get from like point A to point B, and just watching him sort of, map out what he's got to do to sort of deal with this crazy matchup. Because of course back
Mm-hmm.
then he was playing the Seismitoad deck against a big old 250 basic Pokemon, 250 HP basic.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. Just watching him go from like point A to point B, try to like map out everything, know what he needs to do, and all that stuff. Like again, like no one's really done what he's done in a
No.
way.
No. He won. He's got how many like worlds under his belt? Like three.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not to mention too that Third Worlds was literally what, roughly what, 3 years apart, or not 3 years, 5 years apart from the second one that he did, like literally different era or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He
And
took a year off, and when he came back with like a fire under him, and he went all the way.
yep. Oh, and that should also be fair to note as well is he went into 2013 with no Worlds invite. He went with
Oh.
yeah, no Worlds invites, so he participated in the Last Chance qualifier back when those still
Mm-hmm.
existed.
That's right.
So, and with that, you literally have to do nothing but win. You're not allowed to lose at all.
Mm-hmm. I only know about him because like Morris knows about him, and he followed that whole era and stuff like that. But I also like I love watching like the YouTube documentaries on like when you were playing, when you started playing, the whole like everything along that line, because like I feel like that time wasn't very well documented.
Mm-mm.
like from Pokemon's side. So it's like almost forgotten.
It is. I mean, now the only time you can actually get any whatever information is out there is on PTCG Legends, that website.
Mm-hmm.
That's like which
Like,
they've done a decent job of like saving deck lists and history and all that stuff.
mm-hmm. Well, it's like we watched the Geno documentary before Mahone took it down. Like we literally watched it the day it came out,
So did I.
and that's when I found out. Like I didn't know Raul started as a teen. Like
Mm.
literally, like as a senior or a junior or a senior.
You want to know the funny thing about that video? I found out from someone else. Apparently, when I guess Rahul was doing an interview, apparently I was walking around in the background at one point. But unfortunately, I couldn't go back and see because it got taken down. But
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like aside from the the controversy that came afterwards with unfortunate behavior
Yeah.
in between, it was definitely like more for me. Like putting that aside, it was definitely interesting just seeing like loose ends getting tied up and things getting resolved and just delving
Mm-hmm.
deeper into everything else that happened, especially with the whole laptop incident,
Yeah.
which like got resolved in a way and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I mean, obviously, it doesn't let you forgive what he did in that one instance. I'm not gonna. Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna go into that, obviously. But
No, it's not acceptable. It's unforgivable,
yeah, no,
and
yeah, it's not good.
his his post reaction wasn't what he should have done.
No, exactly. Yeah,
And
it's
it literally showed that he wasn't ready to come back. Like he
no.
wanted to, and he literally had the fastest unbanned to banned again.
Yep. So that's how it goes. Which I mean, I don't think we ever really will be. There probably will never ever be a time where we ever see him back again. I don't think it ever will happen.
Mm.
It doesn't need to happen, but it is
No.
what it is. It's one of those things, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm pretty sure this one's permanent this time. I think that was made very well clear. I think in the video itself is if you do such and such again, then we'll ban you with no appeal. So
Yeah.
there's more than likely to probably never see him again at that point. And it ends.
Well, the funny thing is like I asked Morris, like, because he's banned, can he still play online? And he goes, yeah, he can still play online. Which I don't know if he's ever tried, but Morris is like, even if he did, he's like, I'd be watching his game. He's like, to make sure. He's like, if I ever saw him play in person, he's like, I would be watching that table. It's just the type of person that he was.
Yeah. And I mean, that was also kind of the thing, seeing how he was like in person or whatever. Because again, he's from my era, and that's what more or less fascinated me with the documentary in general. Because this was literally about a whole person who primarily existed as I was getting into it and all that stuff. I had him around what was it 4 or 5 years when I was around playing or whatever. He existed. He was playing. He was participating in tournaments. He was doing well in tournaments. He was someone who I could see and interact with. And, you would get that side. There were times where, you get that side where he'd be cool with people, all that stuff. But then, that sort of cockiness would come out in regards to other people. And, it didn't always agree. Like, you never knew which one of him you were going to get, basically, is all I can really say. It's like, it was either you were cool with him or you weren't. That was it.
Last question for you. What is the future looking like for Sunny on Twitch?
On Twitch. So, as far as the future's concerned, I mentioned before how I started out with variety gaming. I'm going to once again be delving into that again a little bit myself. Obviously, we're still going to have the weekly tournaments aren't going anywhere. That's first and foremost. So we're a guaranteed TCG live stream every Monday. And then Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, when I usually stream, it's just anything I want, whether it be Pokemon related or not. I do plan on streaming Pokemon Legends ZA when that comes out.
Uh-huh.
So we'll be seeing that on stream. We'll actually going to have a Thursday game comes out on like a Thursday, so we'll actually have a Thursday stream, and then
Who's your
just go from
starter
there.
gonna be?
Still gonna be the same days, same hours. I stream. For those who don't know, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, from
Hmm.
6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern.
For Legends ZA, who's your starter gonna be?
Totodile. I I'm a water Pokemon fan myself, so
Okay.
yes. Even though I claimed a non-water Pokemon favorite earlier, but
Yeah.
I always go water.
Okay. I did the pre-release for Mega Evolution, and I had a grass deck.
Hmm.
And I think that's the first grass deck that I've actually done well with. Like normally I'm not a grass type. Like normally anytime that I do like grass type, my best friend Shauna, she's a huge Bulbasaur fan. So like anything Bulbasaur I give to her or I make for her.
Yeah.
And she's clearly grass type with that, but like I tried poison. I'm about poison. I think I'm more colorless when it comes to the cards.
I got you. I didn't do the pre-releases for this set though.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't do them for this one. So, and as far as actual cards are concerned for this set, I'm probably just gonna get the cards that I need. I'm not gonna focus too much on opening packs this time around.
No.
Not that I can really find packs to begin with, but a lot of the time,
Mm.
but it's not worth the hassle. But that's kind of like the benefits of being like a player in the game as general is you don't need to worry about finding packs. You don't need to worry about any of that when
Mm.
the singles are perfectly cheap anyway.
Yeah. Where we live, there's like no packs available, like other than like Japanese packs if you want like Japanese packs. Or there's like a Newberry Comics nearby that has everything way above MSRP if you want it,
Yeah,
which
that's
we're not doing that.
yeah, I know. And unfortunately, it seems like for a lot of these stores, that's kind of just had to be the norm in the first place. They don't want to do that, but they still need
Mm.
to make a profit themselves, and you feel bad. But
Yeah.
then it turns into, is this even worth it?
I'm hoping Pokemon has like they will pick up and be able to print out more and do something with the scalpers.
Yeah, that's always the hope, and I'm just gonna like to of course take it in another direction. That's always like the hope or whatever. But I know like the Pokemon themselves have said numerous things. Like they say, oh, we're gonna print more stuff. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do limits on the Pokemon Center. We're gonna make it so people can only buy like one thing a piece. But
Mhm.
it's the problem is like the problem still exists. Is that's the main issue with it? Is that the problem exists still in general, and the fact that we still have to do this, and there's still like for example, every Thursday when I for my job, I make deliveries for my work to
Mhm.
a Walmart, one of my WalMarts or whatever, and every Thursday, that's usually my first stop. I'm really around there around like 7:30, 8 a.m. ish when I
Mhm.
arrive, and there's already at least like 3 or 4 people waiting by customer service for the MJ holding rep to put the product out. Which at
Mhm.
this rate, they used to make them wait and just put everything on the shelf. And now they just make them go to customer service and do it. They don't even bother.
Mhm.
They even shrunk down the card section at that store decent amount.
Yeah, they've shrunk down ours too. Now it's like, what used to be all Pokemon is like now half candy.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to mine as well, or mostly just like sports cards and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
again, like I said, I want to always hope that there's always a way, but as far as there actually being a way, personally, I'm not seeing it. It's just one of those
Mhm.
things you just gotta wait and see what could possibly happen, but it just doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon. Like no matter what you do, and again, I see the same people every week, and I literally just want to walk up to them so bad and just say, like, you're still here doing this.
Yeah,
And then, like, they, of course, Walmart doesn't have purchase limits or whatever, so I still
mine
see
does.
yours does.
My mine does. So does our Target. we went to a capital city of New Hampshire yesterday, me and a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and he tried to buy 4 packs, and that Target actually had a limit, and the register actually like to him. And he's like, no, you've hit the limit. And he's like, oh, well, fine. And he's like, but he was able to ring 2 more in on a separate purchase.
Yeah,
But that's
see,
literally like all they had. All they had was Journey together. And like he literally was just trying to buy 4 packs of Journeys together.
yeah, I see that. Yeah, there was actually a time. I'm not even kidding. Like, there was a whole bunch of Journey Together sitting out like the day after, or whatever, on the
Mm-hmm.
shelf. It was all there, but I kind of just sat there like, I don't need this. I was gonna like buy it anyway. Like that's kind of thing. I don't really like buy things just for the sake of buying them. I buy them if I actually need them or want them. Like even like when I was talking back when we had another MJ Holding rep or whatever. I asked permission first, like, hey, am I allowed to buy something off the shelf? He said, yes, you are, as long as you provide personal space. That's all I care about. You can clear the whole shelf if you want to. He was even saying that, but I literally said straight up, oh no, I just want this one thing.
Yeah.
I left literally like the kind of things I left on the shelf. I left like a bunch of things on there, and I was
Mm.
having a conversation with him, and I was kind of just sitting there like, I kind of feel for you right now as far as what you kind of have to go through at the moment. Because I've seen some of these
Mm.
videos where the scalpers will literally chew out the MJ Holding people for like no reason.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty disgusting behavior from people just because they can't get their
Oh
cardboard.
yeah. The one video that really like always like makes me shake my head is all the people running into Costco and grabbing like
Yeah, like,
pretty much by the pallet full
yep,
of what is that, Blooming Waters
yeah,
set. And it's like, dude, you don't need that much.
yeah. Nobody does. That's why I always want to sit here like to these people like, why are you still doing this? Like, just leave it
Mm.
alone.
Mm.
And it's just that's like things are like killing the hobby in general, like stuff like that.
Mm.
I know a Twitch streamer who primarily did TCG breaks. He primarily did TCG breaks, and he recently decided that, hey, I'm no longer going to be a breaker, and just
Mm.
ended it because getting the product was of course a hassle and not worth it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, another breaker that I watched, he went from streaming 3 days a week to 2 days a week with the possibility of that third day still being a
Mm.
thing or whatever. And it's just rough out there.
Yeah. We had the option with a friend to be one of those like the open and the people that buy the hits on like whatnot and stuff. And we had the option and I was like, I kind of want to do it because like I love opening packs. I just like seeing the cards and
Yeah.
actually handling the cards. But I also like I did this yesterday. I went to local card stores and I bought singles
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because
Yeah, that's what I do. I live at a card shop. I'm not even kidding. It's about 2 minutes away from my house or whatever. And
mm,
they have a fantastic singles collection, whether it be in their case or their binders or even in their $2, $3, or $4 sections as well. They even put some playable stuff off to the side also as
mm,
well, and it's great for getting singles. It's better than it's a lot better than TCG Player since I can usually find what I want anyway. And of course, TCG Player has their own junk going on right now
yeah,
as far as which I mean, if you know, you know. I'm not gonna go too far into that
yeah,
one, but yeah, any chance I get to just buy from an actual store as opposed to going online and doing it, and then maybe it'll show up at a decent time, maybe it won't.
yeah. I when I went yesterday, one of the stores that I went to actually had an entire binder of vintage cards that were $1 each. Like I don't know how vintage they were, but like they were vintage enough for me because I was like, oh, $1 for vintage cards.
Yeah,
They're just gonna go into my display binder. They're just cards that I like to look at,
yeah,
and I like to because we host League every week on Tuesdays,
hmm,
and I have a trade binder because most of our league is with kids.
yeah,
So I like to fill the trade binder with affordable cards. So it's like I know how much I paid for that. So I, to make sure that the trade is fair.
Yeah.
And like all kids want is they just want shiny. They just want
Yeah.
shiny cardboard.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not like totally focused on like the whole deck building aspect and all that stuff. They just want nice cards.
Mm-hmm. We have some kids in league that they're awesome at building decks. Like they show me their decks all the time, and I don't know where they come up with these ideas. They're cooking up crazy decks, and they're juniors, and they play them, and they come in first place, and they have the mats, and it's crazy that the younger generation and like how smart they are.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I always say like the main thing about like juniors is, hey, as long as you know what you're doing in the game, you can definitely skate through that division entirely.
Mm. And like some of the people that I've been watching like at the regionals, because like most of the regionals I watch on YouTube like when it's live and stuff, and a lot of these players I was like, oh, they're really good. I didn't know that they aged up from seniors.
Yeah,
Like
there's a
we're friends with Isaiah Bradner. He like goes to college in the college near our town.
yeah.
I didn't know he aged up from a senior.
Oh yeah, not only that, but he consistently does well at these events as well. He's our most recent NEIC champion, of course.
Yeah.
And he's always been like a high level player. He's really good at what he does.
Mm-hmm. And he's a super nice guy too.
Yeah, it's always like the vibes I
I,
got from him. I've never talked to him personally, but he definitely does have like those nice person vibes.
mm-hmm. Him and Sam Chen are two that we've met in person because they've shown up to league cups by us.
Oh yeah, now Sam
And they're
Chen,
both.
yeah, yeah, Sam Chen is someone who I've talked to on personal levels as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's well, he used to participate in events close to my area.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was part of that.
Yeah, he said that at one point he was like he used to be in like the Boston area.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been a bit of everywhere from what I remember, but yeah, he's always been like a down to earth person, I would say.
Mm-hmm. He actually the league cup that I met him, he was actually standing next to me filling out his paper for his deck, and Morris ran over and he goes, "Do you know who was just standing next to you?" And I'm like, "Just some nice, really tall guy."
Yep.
And he's like, "That was Sam Chen." And I was like, "Why does that name sound familiar?" And he's like, "World champ Sam Chen."
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, actually not a world champ,
"Oh,
but yeah, actually not a world champion, but I mean, of course, he's still like a high level player and all that stuff. And he was, of course,
yeah."
famous. He was very famous for. Yeah, he was famous like actually for another SP deck back in the day. It was called Chenlock. It was literally named after him, and essentially it was another Luxray Garchomp deck that ran Blaziken. Yeah, it was an SP Blaziken level X. He was famous for that,
Okay.
and he literally had it like named after him and all that stuff.
And then, of course, we watched Trainer Tour with Mahone
Hmm.
on it. And Sam was on there with his wife. And I was like, I know him.
I never got to finish Trainer Tour. I gotta go back to that. I think a few of the episodes, but I gotta go back to that one.
It's good.
I was enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like one of those things where it was like one of those series I picked up and then put back down or whatever, one of those. But
Oh my
I
gosh.
was
You know
enjoying.
how many shows I do that to? We just realized the other day that we did that to Journeys.
Oh no.
Morris is like, wait, we never finished the last part? And I was like, no, I put it down. And he's like, oh my God.
Uh, hey,
He's
maybe.
like, well, let's roll with it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say that could be like one of those things you pick back up when he comes home.
Yeah. I'm one of those people I'll rewatch something before I start something new. And it's like it's nothing against like Pokemon or anything, but like the Journeys series, it's not my favorite. It's
Yeah, I
not
feel
because
that.
Ash is not on it. It's just it's not my favorite.
Yeah, if it doesn't click, it doesn't click.
Yeah,
That is what it is,
Sun and Moon was my favorite.
Yeah, there was actually a point where I actually did go back and I was starting from like Lily episode 1 or whatever. Then I stopped somewhere around the Orange Islands. It,
Okay.
it, it wasn't for the fact that I was getting bored. I think I just put it down, but then pick it back up type thing. It was like one of those
Hmm.
or whatever.
I I
Which
think we haven't fully watched like the black and white era because like it wasn't available on like any streaming at the time that we tried to watch it.
right.
So now it's like when Pokemon streams on Twitch every Thursday, they put some episodes in there. They'll like throw some episodes from that era in, and I'm like, when is this from?
Yeah, it's like one of those things I want to pick up again and just get back to it.
Hmm. So, is there anything else that you want anyone to know about you before we get going?
I had fun doing this podcast with you. That's something to know.
Thank you. Do you want to shout out your socials and your Twitch channel and stuff?
So yeah, the Twitch channel is just SunnyTCG. Yeah, twitch.tv/SunnyTCG. The main social that I use, I'm on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, that's Sunny_TCG, or yeah, at Sunny_TCG, however they do it or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like, all those other socials are kind of just I don't use them. Just Twitter.
Okay. All right, Sunny. I loved having this conversation with you. I can't wait till this podcast goes up. Everyone, this podcast will be up at some point when Morris gets back home from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.